Hello, Spartan fans, and welcome to another edition of the NSU Spartan Sideline Report here on NSUSpartans.com. I'm Ross Gordon, the play-by-play voice of the Spartans, joined by Mike Bello, Assistant Sports Information Director, and we'll be joined shortly by the head coach of the women's basketball program, Coach Debra Clark, and senior point guard, Recca Trice. Mike, it wasn't a weekend that the Spartans like to remember. It was a struggle for the Spartans to get points on the board, but it was against a very tough Hampton team. And we saw over the weekend that they had a really solid weekend as they really took it to Howard on Monday night. But the Spartans just couldn't get over that hump of scoring against Hampton, and it seemed like Hampton hit every shot they took.
Yeah, Hampton was really key on hitting those three-pointers, especially Allen there. Problem too, Hampton had the height advantage on some of our players. You know, they got Recca Trice, point guard, 5'4". She's being guarded by Bennett, who's at least 4 or 5 inches taller than her. So they had the height advantage, so that kind of hurt us. You know, couldn't get the shots off like we were trying.
It was a difficult game for the Spartans. Really did much of what they wanted to do. Got some good looks at the basket. Didn't turn the ball over as many times as you would think in a game like that. But again, it was just the inability to hit shots, which has plagued the Spartans as a couple of times this year. But it's just those things that you have to fight through and get through, especially against a tough team like Hampton.
Yeah, and you know, when you have a team like that has the height advantage, you got to try to drive on them, create some, get them in foul trouble. But like I said, the height, you know, they just had a lot of height on them. They were a very athletic team. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You watch them on the court, and Hampton was very athletic. And they just made life difficult for NSU and trying to get any kind of offense going.
And you mentioned you try to get the fouls on them. We shot a lot of free throws, got to the free throw line a nice number of times. I know Coach Clark will be happy about the times we got to the free throw line. It was just the field goal percentage which hurt you in a game like that in that magnitude. And we've seen Hampton over the last couple of weeks, and they haven't been able to throw the ball in the bucket in the lake from a boat like they did against us and Howard over the weekend. It's just one of those things when a good team clicks, it's hard to really stop them.
Right, and that was a situation where they played, I think, their best basketball game, because I've been watching them pretty closely up to the game, and they came into the game shooting 27% from the three-point. And that was very uncharacteristic of them to shoot that well from the three-point. I think a lot of it had to do, we weren't rotating as fast as we needed to get out on shooters. Going into the game, you know, we were told they're going to shoot some three-pointers and they're going to drive as well, but we were not getting out the shooters. We went back and looked at the film, and there were a lot of uncontested shots. And you can't give a good team like that uncontested shots.
Yeah, you're saying, you know, obviously when a team like that is hitting those three-pointers, I mean, what can you do? Obviously, you can say get a hand in their face, but I mean, what can you really do on defense to kind of slow that down?
Well, we tried every defense that we had in our playbook, you know, to try to get out on shooters, and ultimately we did go man-to-man. I think that helped, but maybe, you know, they had already, most of the damage had been done at that point. Man-to-man we were concerned about because their foot speed is just so very, very fast, and we felt that we could contain them better in the zone. But now we know what we're doing, the effort wasn't there. I think we need to go out a little bit stronger, a little bit more aggressive from this point forward.
Coach, coming off of that win against Morgan State, did it bother you a little bit that you didn't see the same type of effort that you saw against Morgan?
It did, because I was very encouraged going into the Hampton game coming off of the win, because they had experienced some success, and if you live success, I think that helps you going into the next game. And I just thought we came out with not enough energy, not a lot of effort. So that concerned me, because I felt good going into the game, but I don't think we responded as well as we needed to.
And, you know, you have to kind of look at it in perspective, too, at times. It's, you know, Hampton is going out and still beating everybody. You know, they lost a bunch of players from last year, but they're still undefeated in the conference, beat Howard by, I think, like 22 this weekend, and Howard was expected to be the team that could compete with them this year. Right. So you have to kind of look at it as like, okay, it's one game. You know, we dive back into Coppin State, Morgan State this week, and, you know, those are games that we can get.
And that's very true. And like you said, after I saw the Hampton-Howard score, I didn't feel as bad as I did on Saturday night, because they played them close the first time as well. So we have to bounce back. There are some things that we have to do. You know, we have to execute offensively. I thought we executed our plays, but we did not finish plays. And you're not going to be able to miss easy baskets against a good team. I thought we had done that a little bit better. I felt that we had taken care of the ball, defended a little better. You know, the margin wouldn't have been so wide, and then there's a little bit more pressure on them. As that margin got bigger and bigger, they played a whole lot more loose and relaxed, and I think we could have changed that. I don't think they were 30 points better than. I think we have done some things in the effort category, and finishing plays would have been a better game.
One thing I think offensively for you, Coach, that you have to be encouraged by, and again, I know you're not a big moral victory kind of person, but one thing you have to be encouraged by is we're doing the things now offensively, going to the basket, getting fouls called on us. We're hitting the mid-range jump shots, so people can't just pack it in on us. We're getting things that you want out of the offense at a crucial point in the season where things can really make a good push for you. Talk a little about the offensive now growing. And
they're doing a lot better. Our posts are executing our high-low. Our guards are doing a better job moving the ball, getting the ball to shooters. We're making shots. I think we have to improve our field goal percentage. And as you say, we have not had a successful year as far as the record says, but at this point in the game, we have to take any positive thing we can take and move on to the next game. So I feel very good about going to Baltimore. Coppin, we lost by 5. I think we take care of the ball. We have a great chance there. We defeated Morgan as they were here. I think we go up and play with the same intensity and effort. We can be successful again. So this is a very exciting weekend for us.
Coach, one of the positive things that you mentioned a few moments ago might be to play your point guard, Recca Trice, as she's now in her senior season and really starting to pick it up for you as we welcome in Recca. Recca, I think one of the big things for you as the season has gone along is to continue to keep your teammates into it, whichever way you can. You've been getting your post players easy shots, and you've been trying to keep your team engaged. Talk a little about how this season has gone for you, especially over the last couple of weeks, because you've seen the potential in this team.
Well, really, I just try to keep my energy up first. Like, that's the first thing, because if my energy starts from 1 all the way to 5, like 5 people on the court, period. But if I keep my energy up, it tells my team, okay, it's time to go. Let's get going. I just want to find higher percentage, shots for my teammates. Whatever I can do the easiest, like, that's what I try to do.
Recca, Ray Korber went down second game of the season. She may not be the vocal leader on the court, but she was certainly one of the leaders just by example out there on the court. And then you lose Marion Brooks as well, and she's certainly one of those vocal leaders. When both of them went down, and Rachel Gordon too, lost for a couple games, did you kind of feel like you needed to really step up and be that leader, or were you already kind of felt like coming into the season you already were that leader?
I mean, I definitely would say I try to be the best leader I can. But when those close people, they're also my close friends as well. But when I see Marion's a senior as well, and we've been really close. Ray, was like our leading scorer. I had a really good camaraderie with her on the court. So I knew where she was at all times. Rachel going down, leader rebounder. It was kind of like a lot going on and having to adjust different ways. And Coach Clark just told us, things happen. You have to adjust to it. You never know what's going to happen tomorrow in practice, the next day. But with them being gone, we just had to really put our heads together, come together, figure out where we needed to be, where Coach Clark needed us to do, whatever she needed us to do so we can be successful. With Marion being gone, that really meant a lot to me because we are seniors. We wanted to end this, together. Not that I'm not saying everybody else doesn't matter, but, it's our senior year. We wanted to just go in really, really strong. But at the end of the day, we just have to come together and just fill in those empty loopholes the best way we can.
If anybody doesn't know you, Recca, you walk into a building and it seems like you've just finished your 13th cup of coffee and you're excited about life, you're excited about everything. How does that translate to your basketball game? Because some people might not understand, like, we see your frustration maybe at the end of the game, but during the game it seems like you always stay positive and there's always a chance.
Well, I don't drink coffee, but I will say that I can't drink coffee, but I will say that, it's kind of been like when January hit, not saying that December, when we started in October, didn't count, but when January really hit, this is it. Like, for me, this is like the end. I've always been energetic, but this is like, after this, I won't be playing basketball anymore. This is it for me. So I just have to really enjoy this time. I'm not saying I enjoy losing, because that really, sucks. But at the same time, I just want to enjoy these games, do the best I can, leave the best way I can remember leaving the court, and try to win a championship. That's why I try to stay excited. So I
don't think we want to see Recca drinking coffee. She'll be bouncing off the walls for sure.